Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Americans are criticizing President Joe Biden for his performance at the NATO press conference last night. Let's take a listen to some of the remarks that Jolanda doesn't want us to hear.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You can beat President Putin. Unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that. If all of a sudden I show up at the convention, everybody says, we want somebody else, that's the democratic process. It's not going to happen.
So, Jolanda, your thoughts about that?
So we're not going to talk about what he talked. Okay, we won't. Let me say this. So first of all, I don't want to go back to Jim Crow. I don't want to go back to modern day slavery. Trump is bad for the country. He's bad for people of color. He's bad for LGBT people. He's bad for public education. He's bad for my right to have an abortion. He's gonna authorize the military to go after U.S. citizens. He's gonna have ICE raiding schools and churches and hospitals. He's going to lower taxes for rich people. He's going to increase taxes for poor people. So guess what? I want a president who at least does a good job. Biden has done a good job. He's had debt relief. He's had a number of things. He's lowered prescription drug prices. Trump's going to raise all that stuff. So if you think I'm going to vote for Trump because Joe Biden is having senior moments, then people don't understand like what the real consequences are.
All right. Dr. von Bidenfeld, let's hear from you on this.
I think there are very real concerns with the commander-in-chief not being coherent, but again, rare occasion, I'll agree with Representative Jones that there are moments of sort of incoherence, but that's got to be balanced against the broader philosophy. And anytime you point at somebody, we always joke that there are four fingers pointing back at you. This is a democratic republic. We have chosen a septuagenarian and an octogenarian to be our candidates as if there is only a bifurcated division where we can't choose anyone else. I mean, if we all wrote in Mitt Romney, if we all wrote in Condoleezza Rice, this wouldn't even be an issue, but we're not going to do that. We've self-selected this sort of incoherent platform for both parties.
And we've had this without even knowing it with Ronald Reagan, who had Alzheimer's, and Nancy Reagan ran the White House.
Then you get in the deep state theories where the bureaucratic state is running the government.
All right, Eric Dick, let's hear from you.
You know, I can get past him being incompetent. I can get past him not knowing who he is. And
I think that is the first time someone said I can get past being incompetent.
What I care about is the 20% inflation. What I care about is him hiring a bunch of IRS agents to go after the middle income class. What I care about is the economy. What I care about is the high interest rates. What I care about is our dollar goes so little than it did 4 years ago. We were in a worse position 4 years ago. I'm not saying Donald Trump is even a good guy. I wouldn't want my daughters around him, but I'd happily vote for that POS than the guy than Biden. Biden means we're going to have less money, we're going to be worse off. At least with Trump, money was cheap.
All right. Representative?
I agree with the reasons that my colleague Representative Jones stated. The only thing that I would do is say that I believe the Democrats can put up a stronger candidate because of Biden's cognitive skills. I think he's been a phenomenal president, and he was a great vice president for 8 years, but I do believe that Kamala Harris is in a better position to win. And I want to defeat treacherous Trump. Eric, you're wrong on that. Trump has been the worst president in modern history. This man is a disaster. He only pales to the worst in this society. And I have to say it, the MAGA movement is not for African Americans, Hispanics, and people of color. I would hope that the Democrats...
Really quick, do you think because Kamala Harris has a negative rating with people, do you think she can pull it off?
I do. I believe that she has the energy.
Her own campaign imploded.
I believe that she has the energy. She can prosecute the case against 34 convictions that Trump has already had of felonies and more waiting.
Trump is a
She
racist.
is amazing, and she will be transformational.
And Trump is a racist. He's a sexist. He's a criminal. He's a con artist. So now we don't need no. And in fact, if
All right.
Trump can run,
Thank you, guys.
we need to hire
Appreciate
other people who have
it.
felonies.
Stay with us,
Yeah,
Fort
more money in
Bend
your pocket,
County.
though.
We're done here.